This is the YouTube edition of my book, A Course in Miracles Workbook Nuggets, which is a study aid for the course's workbook for students. I'll begin by reading my book's commentary on today's lesson over a visual of the book's text. I'll then return with some further thoughts on the lesson, which are only included in this YouTube edition of my book. Today's lesson is part of a 10-lesson group, which goes from lesson 251 through lesson 260, each of which relates to sin as understood in the course. I'll be repeating the same introduction for each of lessons 251 through 260, so you can skip past this introduction in the future if you like. Timestamps taking you directly to today's Workbook Nuggets commentary and my further comments are provided in the description below. In the section entitled, What is Sin?, which precedes these 10 lessons, we are told that sin is insanity and that there is no sin. The point here is that sin is part of the illusion, a very important and cunning part. If you escape the illusion, you escape its many so-called sins as well. There can be no sin in the love and oneness that we are being trained to see. Obsessing over the so-called sins of yourself and others only keeps you here in the illusion. Don't take the bait. Wake from the illusion and be free. As the introduction to these 10 lessons, all dealing with sin, tells us, quote, "The Son of God may play he has become a body, prey to evil and to guilt, with but a little life that ends in death. But all the while his Father shines on him and loves him with an everlasting love, which his pretenses cannot change at all." End quote. Today's lesson from my book and my further thoughts, which are contained only in this YouTube edition of the book, follow. A link to the book on Amazon.com is provided below. Lesson number 253, September 10. Myself is ruler of the universe. The feeling and belief that you are the victim of the world is what keeps you stuck here. How can the Son of God, what you are in reality, be powerless and a victim? He only can be powerless if he is not really the Son of God, but rather a separated mortal living within the world. Sound familiar? That is what you think you are. That is your ego. That thought of separateness is what the ego is. Open yourself to the possibility that the ego is not the real you. The you that is the ego is most certainly a victim of the slings and arrows of the world. The real you, the self, is, as the lesson states, the, quotes, ruler of the universe. No arrows from the, quotes, outside strike the self because there is no outside. All is one. As the Course tells us, only your own mind can hurt you. When you realize that the self is a different perspective to see from, a miracle is a change of perspective, the world you see first changes and then disappears. What remains is the self and the kingdom, which are one. The title of today's lesson is Myself is Ruler of the Universe. The Course concepts in today's lesson have always been hard for me, and I know that they are for other students as well. The lesson is saying that anything that happens to us, good or bad, is by our own bidding. Quoting the lesson, quote, "What happens is what I desire. What does not occur is what I do not want to happen. This I must accept." End quotes. That doesn't feel right. So I must be missing something. I must be thinking about it in the wrong way. Our help comes in the very next sentence, quote, "For thus am I led past this world to my creations, children of my will, in heaven, where my holy self abides with them and him who has created me." End quote. We are being led past this world, where nothing really makes sense. There is so much here that seems senseless or unfair, such as our asking for terrible outcomes and events. The problem is that we are thinking from the narrow perspective of our ego. But the whole purpose of the Course is to learn to see from a perspective beyond and above the ego. Specifically, you are being taught to see from the perspective of your real self, the one self we all share as the child of God. From there, seen with the eyes of Christ, the illusion disappears with the false dilemma that this lesson appears to present. In the reality you see with the eyes of Christ, you seek nothing but continued and unceasing love and joy for all, including yourself.